In the heating and cooling system, cooling-based offenses are considered especially heinous. In Katy, Texas, the dedicated HVAC contractor who investigates these improperly cooled structures is the creator of an elite AC service squad known as the Sweaty Victims Unit. These are his stories.
Hi there. My name's Ray Austin with Austin Air Company. Today's topic is going to be repairing air conditioning refrigerant leaks. You're going to come along with me on several jobs that I've done over the past year or so. And I'm also going to touch base on Freon leak sealers and my thoughts on this particular topic. So come along with me for the ride and stay tuned for the special on air conditioning Freon leak sealers. Thanks for watching. We're going to dive right in. Stay tuned.
The home of better. Welcome home.
So this job was rather unique in that this was a recommendation from a customer right down the street. And this particular job actually started around the 2018 period. And so this repair was done last year in 2021. And so there's a few things to understand with this. This says the newer refrigerant R410A. Coil was manufactured in 2006. Now, I don't know if it started leaking prior to 2018 or not, so that just gives you a rough ballpark of about 12 years as to how long this thing lasted before it started leaking Freon. Now, I had gone over there probably at least once every year since 2018. There was a lag in there about a year and a half because she had called another company out there, and that so-called company is really a known gimmick provider. They advertise a lot, free estimate this, free estimate that on TV, and so they went over there and quoted her $15,000 to rip everything out and replace everything. And so eventually it came to the point where in 2021 I went out there, recharged it. A few weeks later, it was low on Freon again, and so I told her, I says, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to run it. You need to repair this thing." And so that's what I show here. We repaired it and just got it back up and running. And I explained to her there was some risk in doing that, but at the end of the day, it's repaired.
It's HOTT hot up here. I'm getting out of this attic. It's gotta be 130 up here. I'm like soaked from head to toe. Just got out of that hot, probably at least 130. I didn't put a thermometer on it, but it was probably at least 130 degrees up there by the time I finished. And I am literally just soaking wet. Soaking wet. Soaking wet. Not just wet, but soaking wet. And, you know, this is normal. Crazy stuff. So much fun. She's a leaker, she's a leaker. Somewhere in the fins. That's not good. So I just pulled her out of charge mode. She's kind of hovering right around 50, 51. Yep. If only they could make a coil that wouldn't leak Freon on the inside. Much less problems that way, but oh well. So far, I'm impressed with the Bosch, though. Runs like a champ. Of course, you'd expect that. It was put in May, I think. Yep, she's spinning like a top. Till we can get the coil fixed. So this is the old coil sitting out of the cabinet. This is the one I just pulled that was leaking, that only lasted about 4 or 5 months. And then this is the replacement, new one that I put in to replace the leaker. And we got this customer back up and running. So there is no perfect coil. There is no perfect manufacturer. You're always going to need a good HVAC repairman. So this is a customer of mine that's had a bunch of Freon leaks at his house, and he thought that the unit was low in Freon, only to discover that the compressor was locked up. And it's probably just due to the Freon leaks, because eventually that compressor is going to, be under duress. Here's the unit here that I replaced that unit with. And decent little unit. It's not too bad. Nothing extreme. It's a brand that I can get right now. And so we got him back up and cooling. So starting with this job right here, you'll start to see a pattern emerging that I have several units that are right around 8 years old that are leaking Freon. This is the new refrigerant, the newer refrigerant. It's not like new, but it's R410A. So, and he was getting estimates. He had gotten estimates, and everybody else was coming out there to replace the whole system. This is the old coil right here. Just wanted to show you, because when I went out to check this, this unit was completely flat on Freon, and so I suspected that there might be additional leaks beyond the coil, but it turned out to not be the case. So the coil doesn't look really all that bad, but it definitely was leaking, no question. And so we just put in a replacement coil, and we got the unit up. I don't think I was able to film the condenser of this unit because the customer was out there
And so I just filmed while I was in the attic, and that was it. This is the replacement here. But we got him up and going. All we had to do was replace that coil and got him back up and running. So here's another coil leak. This one's a little bit unique, is that this was a job that I installed, I believe it was back in 2014, 2013, 2014, somewhere right around there. And so this coil had sprung a leak, and the manufacturer discontinued this coil, and so I wasn't able to get that coil. And so due to the changes coming up, I sold that customer a new coil with another new 10-year warranty to potentially help him escape the Freon phase out issues that are about to take place. And so after I pulled this coil out, I just wanted to show, that our furnaces aren't used that much. So this furnace is original to the house, and I mean, it still looks in really good shape. On occasion I'll see like worn, dark worn patterns. I mean, this heat exchanger isn't really showing much of any wear at all, and so this I believe is the outside condenser. So it would have been 2014 because I put in the condenser and the coil at the same time when I replaced the AC to this system. Here's the new coil that I installed to repair that leak and got the customer back up and running. That pan is a little on the ragged side, but it's still good shape because that's a high quality pan, really thick pan, and so I just left it for that repair. This is just to show that it's not always Freon leaks. This one's kind of unique in that the unit is only 3 years old, and you'll see that going forward here. This is like a high-end fan motor. It's one of these variable speed DC type fan motors, and I didn't get any. I somehow deleted the video or didn't get it or something, to show, what the fan was doing. It was really acting erratic. Because sometimes it would run and other times it would cut out. So, but fortunately, I came up on it when it was doing that. I didn't have to spend much time trying to figure out what was going wrong with it. And so I just replaced this fan, and luckily the manufacturer had them in stock because we're having trouble getting these kind of fan motors because they're all made in China. And so just because you've got an American assembled unit doesn't necessarily mean that those parts are American. They're made all over the world. And so you'll see here coming up, I flipped that panel over. That's the installer date. So it was installed in 2019. It wasn't installed by me. It was installed by another company. So about three and a half years old. So just goes to show you, I mean, you're always going to need an HVAC, a good HVAC repairman. So this is another trend here. This is another era in air conditioning repairs where Freon leaks are occurring right around the 11 year mark. This unit would have been about 11 years, 12 years old. And it's one that I just did earlier this year in 2022. You can see it's leaking pretty bad right down there toward the base of that coil. And I believe the customer had gotten quotes and stuff, but there's a lot of competitors. I mean, they see a 10-year-old unit and they're going to try to replace everything, and so the homeowner didn't want to spend a bunch of money replacing everything. If he could just repair it and get it down the road a ways. So that's what we did here. And obviously, there's risk to doing that. because you're repairing an old unit, and you got to realize my climate is a hot climate. So while you may say, oh, 12-year-old unit, that's not that old. It is for a climate that's hot. Ours last anywhere between, I would say, probably about 12 and 15 years, sometimes less than that. It really just depends on what's wrong with it. This particular unit uses R410 refrigerant, and so we just repaired it, got this guy back up and cooling, and got him on down the road. This is the inside coil, shows the inside coil repair. Got this guy back up and running. The pan was still in good shape, and yeah, he's repaired. So this is the outside condenser. Just wanted to show that we got it back up and running. Yeah, it's the same job. Place the dryer outside. Yep, she's old, but we got her back up and running. So this era, 2004, is an R22 Freon leaker. So in order to fix this, we had to take it a step further. You'll see that the unit is situated, that's just showing the date, it's 2004. And so you'll see that there's a fence in my way. This unit's kind of like stuck back. This is the attic equipment here. So this is the evaporator coil, and I show the date to this unit here. I'm pretty sure it's a 2004, same as the outside. So it was original house. Yeah, you can barely read it. Barely read it. 8004, so it's a 2004. Here's the replacement coil. Now I converted this to R410A AC, and then we replaced the drain pan to this unit. And you'll see here coming up the outside condenser, and we just changed it over to R410. I just realized, the furnace wasn't replaced because, again, I live in a hot climate. The furnace checked okay, so I don't show the film to every single one because it's just the same thing over and over and over again. It really doesn't show anything out of the ordinary. And the reason why I went with Goodman on this one was that the customer just wanted the unit back online as quickly as possible, and I could not. It was a week wait to get the Grand Air, and so I was kind of like it was either Goodman or nothing, pretty much, because we're having trouble getting equipment. Yeah, and so you can see there where I cut the fence out in order to get the new unit in. Here I show that the fence is put back. I always tell the customer up front, so that there was no surprise there. They knew I was going to cut the fence and that I was going to put it back. So no big deal. It's repaired. It's back online in record time. It seems to me I did this the very next day from the day previous, and when he called me, it was like in the afternoon. So it was like rush. This was the old E coil, and I'm pointing back there to where there's a very, very bad leak. You can see the oil residue all over the back of the coil, and I'm pointing to it with my pen. Mama. So it was shot. I mean, there was nothing you're going to do to salvage that.
Yep, she's crusty. She's a crusty ass leaker.
So this one is a little bit different. Customers seem to believe that this was 11-year-old, but I think I did some investigating. It's about 10 and a half years old. And so this is another Freon leak, R410 Freon leak. And a customer told me that they had got multiple bids and everybody was telling them to replace everything.
She's a leaker.
And so the customer didn't really want to do that. They wanted to try to repair it. And so I gave them a quote to repair it. And here I'm showing the indoor coil. I think that serial number is 2012. So I'm thinking probably it might have been 8 years maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you can see the oil sheen on there. So there's no question it's leaking Freon up there in that feeder tube. And here I show the heat exchanger. You can see there's some wear there, but it's still in pretty good shape. I mean, you know, you could easily get another 5, maybe 10 years out of that. And so, yeah, this coil, and so the issue with this was that these 2-speed units take a lot of Freon. And so I'm just showing the overall view of the coil and just how crusty bad it is. Here's the replacement coil, and everything's sealed back up. And I reused the drain pan on this one as well. It was still in pretty good shape, and I'm just brushing junk off the top of the unit. Just everything's sealed back up. And then you'll see here I go back out to the outside unit to show you that we didn't replace the outdoor unit, we just merely repaired it. And this is a 2-speed unit, 2-speed condenser. That sucker holds a lot of Freon, and so that's where a lot of the cost is coming, you know, because as they phase down R410, the cost of refrigerant is not cheap. I believe this unit holds probably somewhere around 15, 16 pounds. This is to show that I'm preparing this coil to add the leak sealer to it. Some leak sealers seal due to air, some seal due to moisture. So this is just showing you that I've got a coil here that I know that's leaking, and I'm getting ready to prep it. And so you'll see in the upcoming video where I pull a vacuum and then I'll put a holding charge in the coil. And then I also pull out the leak sniffer to show you that the coil is actually leaking. This is to show the leak sealer contents have already been added into this coil. And this is to show the current charged up charge currently in the coil. Now we wait.
The date is May 14, 2022. This was only a few hours later. So we're going to pump it back up. This is going to be pump up number 2. This is less than 24 hours later. Charge back up again. It's Sunday, 12 o'clock a.m., May the 15th, 2022. Now, probably tomorrow we'll know whether this is, I'm fairly certain it's snake oil at this point. It is currently Sunday, May 15th, 2022, about 8 hours later than the previous video.
This is going to be the last attempt. I'm going to pump it up one more time and we'll test it, see how long it lasts. So it's been an hour since I topped that coil off. I pulled the, and you can hear my meter in the background. I'm not even standing in that room and the meter is going off. So you can see I come in the room and it's just going ballistic. Pegging the meter. You know, I took the gauge set off because I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything. As soon as I put it down there toward the base of the coil, it freaking goes off. So Austin Air Company has one rule when it comes to anything of this nature. The one rule is that it must work. Now, there's various definitions of what someone considers working or not, but this clearly does not work. So I give this the Bonafide Snake Oil Award. It's a waste of money. It doesn't work.
And so if you live in the Katy, Texas area, you can give me a call at 832-475-6895. Or for more information, you can always visit me on my main website at www.austinairco.com. For Austin Air Company, my name's Ray Austin, and I hope your day is comfortable. Thank you.
I don't know who you are, but I know that you probably want Freon. I can tell you that I have Freon, but it's not free. I cannot read minds or fix air conditioners over the phone. But what I can do is apply my knowledge and a unique set of skills that I have acquired over a very long HVAC career. Skills that can put an end to your discomfort. If you tell me where you are, I will find you. I will not stop until I find you. I will sell you Freon, and I may sell you a new air conditioner.